Hey guys, welcome back to another Stardust video. In today's video, I am playing the Medusa Battlecruiser. This is part of the Antares Empire in the Aureus universe, which is the developers' little project that they've been working on for a couple years now, and it's part of their own little universe they've all been making on. The developers who make the entire Stardust game are very heavily devoted in the Aureus universe, and the Antares Empire is part of that universe, and I don't know any lore behind it, but I've been falling in love with all their ships. All their ships are high velocity guns, which are pretty much anti-Space Battleship Yamato in pretty much every aspect. I have been enjoying them very much because as an old Star Wars main, I always hated the fact that they would just sit at 45 kilometers and just outbrawl you because they'd just go in a spinny circle and the game would be so laggy you couldn't hit them. But the Antares came along and now you have a really high velocity gun which can shoot them every time, which is very funny. Although I have been falling in love with more ships. But back to the Medusa. The Medusa is basically an up-buffed version of the Naja, which is over here, which some keen fellows might remember is the Crate, but a slightly worse version of the Crate. I say slightly, they're very similar. They're pretty much the same, it's just this is the one we all remember because, well, I imagine what happened was people had like 15 million XP on this thing, or like some people had like 30 million on this thing, and I expect the devs thought that someone's gonna have 30 million on this, we don't want them to have Medusas on the first hour of the update, so they moved it as a premium and then made a new one down here, which pissed off a lot of people. The grind for it isn't too bad. The Naja is hard to play because I'll get to that in a minute. It does decent damage and whatnot. It doesn't have a lot of health, and that pattern kind of stays the same in the Medusa. Medusa, compared to a lot of the other Antares ships of tier 5 category, don't have a lot of health. In fact, it only has 15,000 more health than the Anaconda, and the Anaconda is a glass cannon. So what does this make this? Well, this thing has to get into a range of, I believe it's 31.5 kilometers. These guns here, no, 32.5. My bad. 32.5 kilometer range to be an effective range. You can use the two special guns here, which are two rail guns here, that have a range of 50 kilometers. They do a decent amount of damage. They can do like 20,000 damage, which is pretty decent. But that's all they can do, and all the other guns are all short range, 35 to 40 kilometer range guns. So if you're gonna be in that range, you may as well get a little closer, get in range of your main guns, which are these 120mm plasma Rubold. Great, whoever came up with that name. Anyway, so they have 10 of them. Technically, that means the DPS is extremely high, but like the Providence Mark II, which some of you might know and remember from my past videos, they can only fire half of what's there because one side's for this side, the one side's for this side, and that means they only do about maybe 30,000 to 35,000 damage in total on here. They do have a shield damage multiplier, so you do more damage to shields, which is pretty helpful. The downsides of Medusa, well, actually, let's start with the upsides. Upsides, very fun, very good at destroying carriers on maps like Phantom Wreck, where you know how in past carrier maps like Phantom Wreck or Space Hotel Sunrise, where one side will sit with carriers, the other side will sit with carriers, one will have a Dom, one will have a Dominator, and they just sort of can't do anything to each other because both carrier fighters overwhelm the other team and both Doms overwhelm the other team, and it's just a complete waste of 20 minutes. We all remember that? Well, the Medusa is quite helpful in the fact that it has a lot of damage, it is very fast and has a high maneuverability. So, if you get escorted by friendly carriers, you can pretty much become unkillable from other carriers, enemy carriers. But the enemy very quickly will start to catch on that, the big 3 kilometer long ship spinning in a circle right inside our spawn is a little bit suspicious, and maybe we should get a ship which can counter it quite heavily. And there's a lot, because this thing has, let's just say, pretty much no point defense. Like, I've tested it against a Tyrant, Tier 5 Tyrant. Tyrant is a missile ship. I covered it a while ago. They've recently buffed it, so I might go back at it. But in total, it fires 48 heavy concussion missiles, and I tested it 3 times. And on average, it shot down about 3 to 5 concussion missiles and none of the boron missiles. Meaning, it pretty much has no missile defense at all. If you get shot by missiles, you're going to take all the damage. So some ships, like the Mongrel, which does about 60k with all its missiles, it's probably going to do about 55k to you, which, as you can see here, is about a quarter of your health. So you die to missiles quite quickly. And the other downside is the fact that your main guns, these 120mm guns here, have to be in range of 32.5 kilometers. A lot of ships have very good targeting range within that range, and most ships will do the most damage at that range. So you kind of die pretty quickly, which is the downside of this thing. I can see what the devs were going for. They were basically going for an up-armored version of the Naja, but it plays exactly like the Naja. It dies very quickly. It's very, very risky to get into the range of 32.5 kilometers, and once you're in that range, you're so large and so loud and so bright, people just target you, and you die insanely quickly. But anyway, enough rambling about the Medusa. Let's get into it. Now, I'm aware, certain maps, like this one for example, which is a mid-range map, Medusa probably isn't the greatest choice, but you do have access to these little nasty little buggers, which is the railguns, which bang, 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 bang. Wow, this place sounds like an American school. Anyway, so this guy is, well, obviously charging, and I don't exactly want to be in his way when that happens, and let's just turn away, blast him, and hopefully our team kill him before he gets close. And as you can see there, the damage is very high. Hello, Orca Man, your memes suck. For that, you deserve death. Yes. And he's gone. He got deleted before I could shoot him. And all my health is slowly disappearing. I say slowly disappearing, I went very quickly. I died to a Gilladron prototype. Makes sense. Gilladron prototype does a ton of damage, and at that range of 32.5 kilometers is going to absolutely shred me. Oh, in law, I'm a big old flagship. I am the flagship of the main Antares Empire fleet. But I have no point defense against missiles, or pretty much anything that involves a flying projectile towards me. Great design. Oh, a Radus. He's out of here. Yeah. He is smart. He does not want to get in my way, especially when I'm that close to him. But as you can see here, I am struggling with the fucking TIE fighters from another brawler. You do have a fighter wing, but don't trust that fighter wing in any means in any way. Don't trust that fighter wing. It will not defend you from pretty much anything, because it's not very large. And remember, guys, this is the flagship of the Antares Empire fleet by an admiral who decided, you know what, I ain't gonna put any bloody air defense on my ship. What could go wrong, right? Bang, bang, bang. The damage is, as you can see, I do appreciate the damage, but when they introduced this thing, it had 160,000 health. They realized that was a big mistake because it didn't do very well with that much health. And so they gave it another 30,000, and it still doesn't do very well, because you can see the M48 missiles came in, and I pretty much did nothing to defend them against. And oh no, look, I'm dying to Halo ships. Oh, they died just before they got in range, and oh, I'm very dead here. There's not much I can do against that. Yeah. The problem is when you're that close to the enemy, you don't have any point defense and you don't have any carrier defense, you die insanely quickly. Would I recommend this ship out of other Antares ships? No, I would not recommend it. It can be fun. It's like War Thunder. It can be fun. But most of the time, it's not fun. This ship, although I can definitely see what the devs were going for, I would not recommend it. It's still not a great ship for what it is. If I was going to put my take on it and how I'd buff it, you could either give it more health or you just give it more point defense. Honestly, point defense would probably be a better idea. That would be, I would give it better missile point defense rather than the flak, because a carrier would easily counter it because it doesn't have enough of a fighter wing to defend itself, and the missile PD wouldn't be very good against fighters. It's like the expansion ships like the Tripoli or Donager or Harmon. They're really good against missiles, but they're absolutely terrible against fighters. That's not to say to make them as strong as the missile PD as the expansion ships, but it does need to be better because this ship is extremely frustrating to play. But that does it for this video. If you like this video, comment down below what you want to see next. Subscribe to my channel. We reached 1,000 subscribers recently and we're very close to being able to monetize. Can't wait to get 1p per 1,000 views. This is gonna be absolutely amazing. Alright, catch all you later. Goodbye.